Welcome back. Alexandra residents are still trying to rebuild their homes after a fire destroyed more than 500 structures. It's been 4 days since that disaster, and donations of food and clothing still streaming in, but community members say they've lost incredibly important documents, including IDs and birth certificates. Now, Gauteng Premier David Makhura has visited the area and promised assistance. ENCA's Malungelo Boy is in Alexandra for us, covering that story. Malungelo, you were there during the Premier's visit last week, just in the aftermath of this horrific fire. There were two things promised. The first was that there would be some assistance in trying to rebuild people's homes. Secondly, that Home Affairs would be coming to the area to assist with IDs, with birth certificates. Have those promises materialized?
Hi there, Michelle. In fact, Michelle, we are at a marquee where City of Johannesburg officials have just been taking details of those that have been affected by the fire. I think one of the questions that's being asked to the residents is, what have you lost? And the answer that you hear from each and every resident here is that I have lost everything. As you rightfully said, on Friday, officials from the Gauteng government, in fact the Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, coming here talking to residents, telling them that everything possible would be done to make sure that they receive all the necessary help so that they can rebuild their lives and rebuild their homes. People having lost not only their homes, having lost also their identity documents. Michelle, in the morning I've been interacting with some residents here, telling me that that help has not been forthcoming from government. Let's take a listen to this lady.
Because ndichelwe zi-ID, certificate zabantwana, zimpahla zabantwana, andikwazanga ukhipha kwanto.
Ubusithi kum ushiyeke nezimpahla ezinxibileyo emzimbeni.
Njengoba unibona nakhona izimpahla ezindiziphiwe ngabantu.
Ndifuna ungixelele intoni oyifunayo kanye wena.
Kahle kahle ugovernment ife bekwazi usinceda, asincedise for immaterial sikwazi ukwakha, sinabantwana and abantwana samazibacelela indawo zokuhlala. So asindikwazi asisebenzi, asikhona afford asisebenzi, sikhole grant. So ugovernment bengakhona ukuthi asincedise just usipha nangamazenke okuvala neminyango.
She is a mother of 5 children. She was telling me that she has been battling really to rebuild her home because she needs the building material that has been promised to her by government officials. But of course, she also says she lost all the important documents, including the ID, the birth certificates of her children. She actually says that she actually even lost her bank cards in that blaze, saying that all she needs really is to be provided with that building material so that she can be able to rebuild her home, a home for her children as well. She was saying that she has had to ask her friends in other parts of Alexandra just to accommodate her children overnight.
Malungelo, any word from the Premier? I mean, I remember in that interview with him just last week, you pushed quite hard for him to give deadlines in terms of when these promises would be fulfilled. Any word from his office now?
Well, Michelle, we haven't heard much really. All we've heard from was the head of disaster here in Gauteng, Dr. Sipho Sitola. In fact, he was here, but he refused to give me an interview, saying that he's rushing into a meeting and that he would talk to me later on. I just tried to ask him one question as to when will the emergency and the relief stuff that was promised to these residents would arrive. So he said that he's trying to get more details into that, and hence he's going to that all-important meeting. But Michelle, I mean, when you talk to residents here, you do get a sense that it's people that feel that they have been let down, and a promise was made to them that they would get all the necessary help and support that they need, and that help that they need is not forthcoming from government officials.
So Malungelo, even last week, just before the Premier visited, people had already taken matters into their own hands. Of course, they can't just sit there and wait for help. They already started rebuilding their homes so that they could ensure shelter for themselves and their families. You've been there for the past few days. What are you seeing in terms of the rebuilding and people sort of trying to get back to life as usual?
Michelle, it's the resilience that the people of Greenville have. They've begun, or even on Friday, Michelle, shortly after that blaze, they were really clearing the rubble, trying to rebuild their lives. And in fact, some of the many structures that are up already here in Greenville, it's structures that have been built with damaged corrugated iron sheets. It just shows, Michelle, that people can no longer wait to be given stuff by officials. They have to take matters into their own hands. And of course, we've also been told by some residents that over the weekend, Pastor Mboro was here and he donated building material for at least 3 corrugated iron sheets, corrugated iron structures, and he had made apparently a commitment. That's what the community leader was telling me, that Pastor Mboro had made a commitment that he would assist to building another 10 corrugated iron structures for residents here in Alexandra.
All right, well, thanks very much for that update. Our reporter Malungelo Boy live to us there from Alexandra as we continue to track how people are trying to rebuild their lives, their homes. They are, of course, also still appealing for help from Home Affairs. Those people who have lost ID documents and birth certificates do need that help quite urgently.